Hey, what's up? We out here on the Ali vlog, you know, the coolest vlog out here in America and stateside. We got the boy Gabe, we got the boy Noah, we got
Oreo.
It's like
Oreo. I'm just gonna start jumping.
we out here, bro. Best place to be.
You're just gonna keep going.
I don't know what we're doing now.
My name is Derek Miner. I'm a rapper and a producer and a record label owner. Respect. Respect.
My name is Ace Harris, and yeah, I'm a producer, A&R. Most importantly, I'm a father of 3, and we're married for 13 years. So yeah, that's it.
Sir, I'm Rodney Jerkins. I'm a producer, executive, publisher, and many other things. Depends on what day of the week it is.
Well, hey, we are just so honored and excited that you guys are with us today. You know, you all have had such, in the middle of such a successful career. And so I want to know, what are the biggest obstacles that you have had to overcome in your career? What are some of the biggest obstacles?
I would say, in terms of like being a producer, I would say the biggest obstacle is just like breaking in, just finding the right people to connect with. Just being so that once you connect to the right people, I think everything starts to spill over and doors start to open kind of exponentially. But the first start is just getting what they call a big break. But that big break isn't like a break to like stardom or, well, unless, you know, some people have a quicker route, but it's just more about getting into the right spaces that lead you to your next 10 years of a career, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's really good. Do any of you else?
Yeah, I would say I think in just everything is mental, because to show up every day, like we're trained in America that if you work, you get a reward. But music isn't like that. Music is you work, maybe even years without a reward, and then all of a sudden it kind of cuts on. And then now it's like you try to figure out how to manage all of the stuff that comes at the same time. So it's very little reward early. So you have to be mentally strong enough to tell yourself that it's worth it, or if it's not worth it, to tell yourself that
This ain't it.
hang it up.
That's a real thought too. Right?
I think for me, it's transcending. Like every 10 years to me is a new 10 years. Every decade is a new decade, and I want to be different every decade. So I look at the scope of sound that whatever I created in one decade, I got to go and try to recreate and reinvent myself for the next decade, and that becomes the obstacle. Right? How do I do that? How do I get out of my own head? How do I throw away all my sounds that I used 10 years ago constantly? So that's just the thing that I always do.
Where do you see the music industry going within the next 5 years? What's kind of some stuff you can look at and you think maybe we're headed to?
I think we have to be inventors. I think when God created the heavens and the earth and us being his children, that he created us to be creators. And we have to create the sound that we can imagine or that we can visualize, people listening to, singing to, rapping to, whatever, dancing to. We have to be the ones that create that. So a lot of times, to be honest, I try not to listen to music. People always say, you know, you listen to your catalog a lot. Like, I never listen to it because I did it already, it's done. So I try to imagine what does 2030 look like? You know what I mean? So I look at everything that's going on, whether it's artificial intelligence, whether it's they saying people going to start driving cars in the sky, and I think that's all impactful to the sonics and the textures that's going to come in the future. So, you know, it makes me kind of study a little bit deeper the sonics and what's going on and how we can make and how we can evolve the sonic of it all, right? Like, for example, a piano is classic; it will never go away. It'll be forever, right? But how can I manipulate the piano to sound like it's never sounded before? What can I do to it to make it sound interesting, right? Because if I can make it sound like it's never sounded before, then I know I got something for tomorrow, and that's got to be the mindset.
Music is in an interesting place, and I say this because, you know, the streaming era kind of saved music from copyright infringement, but it also created oversaturation and fragmentation. And in a lot of ways, people consume music differently in a way that some creators, I won't say all, would say consumers don't value music the way they used to. when you have to like go to a store with your hard-earned money and spend $15 for a CD, that was a transaction that you had to like physically put energy into to go get that music. Now that it's available everywhere, it somehow devalues it or it changes the value of it. So now creators have to be intentional about how do we recapture that value. Especially in music is not necessarily competing against other music.
Right.
We're competing against jokes on TikTok.
Right.
We're competing against like podcast platforms. We're competing against crazy debauchery you shouldn't be watching anyway. But it's just like that's what's you're fighting for attention, and so you're trying to make great music and cut through and disrupt the scroll, and it's extremely difficult. But I feel like right now with oversaturation, only thing we can really lean on is try to make amazing music from an authentic place and trust that God's gonna connect it to the right people and scale it if he desires to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was gonna be my point, was what you said at the end. I think it's authenticity and honesty. There was a study on a dating site, and they asked a bunch of Gen Zers, like, what do they want out of a mate? So my first thought was Gen Z, they want like, you know, the most superficial things you could think of. But it was actually the opposite. They were like, man, we value when, you know, we link up with somebody, if they hit us back within the day, they don't play games and wait. We value honesty. We value all those different things. So what that tells me is that, one, that's gonna be a lot harder, or it shouldn't be harder, but for Christians who are constantly trying to project something. Like, I think a lot of times Christians write songs about who they wish they were as opposed to who they actually are. You know what I'm saying? We write songs about who we think we want to be or that. Like, I think that it's gonna be, for anyone in general, authenticity is gonna matter, but it's gonna create challenges for a lot of Christians because, like, you know, how do you tell people you struggle with alcoholism when you're supposed to be a Christian, right? But I think that the people that tell those kind of stories that are actually real and honest, I think they're the ones that are gonna rise to the top. And I think we see that. Like, I see, like, even when you think about Dill, like, Dill is very vulnerable in his music, and I feel like that's what has really set him apart. But when you think about all the artists that you're gonna see on the stage, a lot of them are very vulnerable. They're not cartoons, you know what I'm saying? They're like actual people, and I think that that's what the future is gonna be. It's always been that way. It's just a reinvention of how we distribute it, though.
Yeah, that's really good input. And so, with this being the Grammy panel, you know, I want to know, did winning a Grammy change your perspective on the music industry or your approach to creating music? After you won a Grammy, what changed for you in your creative process? What did that kind of look like for you?
It made me hungrier. Michael Jackson used to always say he would take his awards and put them in the basement because he didn't want to lose his hunger. And I thought he was a liar. I thought he was a liar. I thought he was lying for real. Like, and then one day I snuck into his basement. I was underneath his arcade room, and I snuck in there and I saw all his awards lined up. And I was like, yo, he told the truth. Like, you should always never get too proud of what you just did. You know, celebrate, of course, have a moment, but move on because there's so much more to do.
And that's real. That man was in Michael Jackson's.
Hey, bro. I went downstairs in Michael Jackson's basement. Saw his Grammys wife. You know I was playing pinball in Michael Jackson's basement. We made a slushie while we was riding a horse.
Like, shout out you, buddy. I'm not gonna embarrass you, but we shouldn't have said that. No, it's good though. I mean, this is the level of creativity that like, man, God used you to touch the most amazing artists in the world.
If a person could sell, I mean, we talk about somebody who, when I worked with him, he was already at 100 million plus records, and that's sold, right? So for him to not have his awards out on a pedestal for people to see, and he's still going hard, that just made me like reevaluate my whole self. And I was, 21, 22 years old at the time. So that just made me look at it like, dang, like, yeah, sometimes we get too caught up in that. And
Did you say you was 20-some years old?
21 when I started working with him.
That's crazy.
years old, I had a beat machine in church. And a lot of people don't know this. I was rapping. I told Ace this. I was rapping, and Fred Hammond had a group called Dawkins and Dawkins. I was on their first album. I rapped on a song called Wonder Why.
No, you wasn't on Dawkins and Dawkins album.
Yeah, I'm on Dawkins and Dawkins album. I was
Bro,
on,
you know they went to my church.
I produced a song called Revolution with Kirk Franklin. That's me rapping on it. Like, so it was already in it. It was already in it.
I will see y'all later, man.
So when
He was 13 doing all this too.
when I'm in church, a lot of I hate to say it, Lord forgive me, but a lot of my grooves will come from me being in church. Right. It would literally be like me playing in church, and then my studio was right next to the church. Sometimes I would leave church and go to the studio like, oh, I got something crazy, I gotta lay that down. You know what I'm saying? I go home, my dad go, I saw you leave out when I was preaching. I said, Dad, I was so anointed in the moment. I had to go to the studio. You know what I'm saying? I did a whole album. I did Full Moon from Brandy. The whole album was me going from my church to the studio. Church to the studio. Church to the studio. Literally, that's how I did the whole album. I have ideas. I be playing in church. And it's not like, today a lot of church is very organized. Our church wasn't like that. Like, I went to church, our church was 6 days a week, and we free-handed everything. So like they be like, oh, the Spirit's moving, so we just playing. Right? It'd be offering time. You play whatever you want to play. So I'm playing Rock My World before it's Rock My World. I'm playing in the church. And I'm playing the groove, and I'm like, oh, I got something. And then I'll run to the studio and I lay it down. So that's kind of like, that's always, I actually tell artists today, I tell a lot of singers today, I work with a lot of singers and I tell them, I say, go to church. Come on. You know what some of the best singing comes from? Like, I know background singers that will slay any singer out today, right? Go to church. I don't care, just go, even if you've never been there, go, just go. I remember taking the artist, I took her at 11 years old, I took her to church. When I met her, she goes, I'm taking you to church. You need to see what's happening. So for me, it's really about, that was my upbringing, and I instilled it in the music that I do today.
Amen.
It's fun. And I had a number that I had in my mind. I was like, yo, if I could just make, a couple $100 a week, I can make it. And then it turned from that to me being like, oh, you can use the internet to talk to people. So then I started expanding in that way. And I think that that builds a lot of character. And it builds a lot of character. Don't be frustrated with the process. The process is what you love. Love the process. And then you get the results. People fall in love with the results, but that's not how you get there. You look at like, oh man, I want 1 million streams. No, be like, I want to be the coldest rapping there is. And I want to be the best marketer there is. Yes. And then dive head first into it and fall in love with it. That's what I had to do. And that's when the results began to come. So where I wasn't even thinking about it. I just looked up one day, I was like, oh shoot, I'm charting. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
It's really how it goes.
Man, shout out these two. I think discipline and hard work are definitely equalizers. Definitely. Like, and if I'm being honest, most of the artists that I see who are having like material success that are scaling, not necessarily, there's some artists who are working really hard, and honestly, God just ain't elevating it the way He wants to in your life for reasons I can't give you. But for the ones who I feel like He's put a battery in their pack, they working really hard. They're working so hard. Deal goes so hard. Facts. Quality, consistency, authenticity. And I felt like when I was 15, I decided I'm gonna be successful in music until I die, trying. But I didn't hurt people around me to get there. So I just kept going and going and going. I mean, when I got married, I quit my job. I was basically getting married. Me and my wife were saving up for a wedding budget. We were dead broke. I took like $1,000 out the wedding budget to go to LA for an opportunity to land this placement with this gospel artist. We were gonna track this song, flew out there, get to the session, the A&R was like, yo, it's not happening. And I lost all that money. And I had to go back to my wife and kind of like, as a man, with pride on the floor and tears in my eyes, like, hey, but she supported me. But at the same time, I would make sure I was, bring as much money home as I could, washing dishes, doing the stuff that you gotta do. If you're gonna pursue music, you gotta handle your business too. So I just feel like I just kept going and going. I used to go to LA in 2012. I used to go to LA about 7-8 times a year. I was in LA one time for like 40 days and 40 nights. sleeping on my homeboy's couch. I'm 28 at the time, a grown man trying to make stuff shake. And I think, and my heart was in the right place, so my relationship with God wasn't like, if this don't happen, me and God, I'm mad. I'm like, no, I think God wants me to do it, and I'm trusting Him for the results. But I just feel like the artists that I see, not all the time complaining, they just honestly ain't working that hard, to be honest.
But
So, yeah.
And I was gonna say what you said make a lot of sense. And I'm gonna brag on Ace, because Ace, you gave me one of my bigger records, like in the beginning of my career. And one thing that when I was in the studio with him, he's always been positive. And I think that that's honestly the difference between some artists. Like that's what makes you fall in love with the process, is the positivity that something can happen from this. Like if you so negative when you creating the art, you like, man, ain't nobody gonna listen to this. Then you put it out, man, ain't nobody gonna do this. Then it get 1,000 streams, you're like, man, it ain't get 30,000 streams. Like it's like you be so frustrated, that's what leads to quitting. But when you like, man, I got an opportunity every day to wake up and tell somebody new and educate them on what I'm doing. Like that's the thing I see. I've never met Rodney. I mean, I don't know Rodney like that, but I'm sure like when I listen to you, you have a positive outlook. You like everything has to be big. Like you can't think like that with a negative outlook. And I think that that's the thing, man. Like that's the work ethic.
Every now and then, I like transport myself 10 years ahead and say, or a year ahead, and I think about, you know, God, you could take all this away. Title, position, acclaim. Do I still trust you? Do I still love you? And I try to make sure my heart is fixated on that first. And when I release that, I have the best fun creating, because I'm not creating for those things. And I'm like a kid in the candy store. I'm 39 years old, and I feel like I haven't made my biggest song yet. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it feels like. So have that like childlike faith, that like, the most mature faith is being like a child, where you just trust it, you know what I'm saying? So when you create from that childlike place, I feel like it unleashes some supernatural stuff that I've seen work on my life, and I pray that it happens for the ones that God's supposed to allow that to happen to. So yeah, that's all I'll say.
I work for Goatee Records. I work for Toby Mac and Relient K, Aaron Cole, Holland, those kind of artists. Before that, I worked for Michael Louis Smith, Amy Grant, CeCe Winans on the management side. Manage a few artists on the side as well.
What's up? I'm Rachel Wine. I work over at Prescription Songs, which is a publishing company based in LA. We've had this office open for about 7 years. I've been with the company sort of since the start of its time in Nashville. And it's Dr. Luke's company, so sort of started in, I would say, like more like top 40 pop music, and then over the years have been doing a lot more R&B and hip hop and really a little bit of everything.
Awesome. Well, thank you. We are glad that all of you are here today. I want to know, what is the most overlooked or neglected revenue source for indie artists? What is the thing you think that a lot of artists just kind of skip over and don't focus on?
Publishing. That's the easiest one. And the reason why, I think, is just it's hard to understand, more difficult to get to, confusing. To elaborate, when we first started out, we didn't register any of our songs. And when we signed an admin deal, I had to work for like 2 or 3 months to register all our music. And then I did it wrong. So I had to do it all over again for another 3 months. But there's so much money in publishing and writers, and I'll let them elaborate more, that artists miss out on. I'm constantly fighting with them, like, man, turn your stuff in. Who wrote this? What's the splits? What's that? And it's always the last thing that most artists think of, because it's just not the easiest money to get to. Most people are focused on master money, which is what you get out of TuneCore, DistroKid, stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer. I would probably say the same thing, but I think it's mostly because people don't understand even how to get publishing or where it comes from. It takes a lot of understanding. I've been working in this industry for 10 years, and I still barely have begun to understand that part of the industry. It's really complicated. So working with independent artists recently has been kind of eye-opening as to how much money you're actually missing on the publishing side. But I would also say live music is something that, at least in the CHH or Christian music sphere, there's not a lot of artists that are really investing in that world like they used to. Like before LimeWire and the whole digital age kind of took over music and there was no money being made, there was a lot of live shows happening. There was the youth group shows that would happen in the circuit of people playing live shows, and that hasn't really come back to the full force that it used to be. And so that's kind of been my big emphasis for artists that I'm talking to recently is go play live music. Go invite your friends, play a show at your local church, invite people out, and you can make a lot of money from, just bringing your friends that want to support you.
I'll probably just double down on both of those, So as a publisher, I don't know how many of you are artists versus, also like writers or producers who collaborate with others. But my goal always when working with someone, especially if their main goal is, I want to be an artist, I want to be the one with my voice out there. I think it's just a matter of expanding, like, cool, that's the main goal. How can we explore all these other different ways of making money so that you can pursue your artistry without any compromise, right? The way that you want to do it. I would say on the publishing end, so whether that looks like writing or producing for others, or honestly, film and TV is even as a company that has multiple number ones. I would still say the majority of how our company is really bringing in revenue is film and TV. And I think hip hop in particular has if you can channel it right and like focus that energy, it's such an untapped area because, it's what everyone's listening to, right? And music supervisors, they want to be tastemakers, you know what I mean? They want to put stuff in their shows and commercials that people actually like and are listening to. And I think the struggle there sometimes is, the songs that they might want or the artists they might want, either they can't afford or, if there's an ABC Family show, unless they have a version like without swear words or whatever, they're probably not going to be able to move quick enough to make that happen. So not even necessarily creating for sync, but starting to pay attention to not only movies, like video games, like just all the things that you're naturally consuming, starting to recognize trends, and then to the extent that you want, keeping those things in mind. And I'll dig into that later, but yeah, I would say those two, and then for sure live and merch. I feel like if you can sort of, really lean into that, a lot of my friends that are artists will clean house with merch.
Yeah. And so you guys are talking about publishing and syncing your music for TV and stuff. So how does someone even go about that? Can you tell us a little bit, if someone's wanting to look into that, what does that process really look like? Where would an independent artist start?
Yeah, what I would say is, to me it starts with building a community. I always encourage people to like shoot their shot and like reach up and look to your left and right, because like everyone in this crowd, like it all happens in classes, right? And in the same way that I have sort of a loose class of A&Rs that I've come up with and we learn from each other and grow from each other, I think the same is true with writers and producers. So a lot of the folks that I end up working with, don't get me wrong, we receive outside submissions. I don't think we're actually supposed to, but I listen to every single thing in my inbox, every single Instagram, cold DM. But to me, the most exciting thing to see is when it happens organically of, oh, you know what? I keep hearing this name around town, and they're sort of all part of this crew. Okay, they're putting on a show, let me check it out. Oh, they're writing on each other's stuff. So that's what I would say is like really first investing in finding like-minded peers. And then to me, there's nothing more attractive than like, oh, this person is doing their thing. They're gonna keep doing it whether or not I hop on board. That to me is really attractive, and it's like, cool, where can I add value, or how can I sort of expand what you're doing?
What are some moves that independent artists can make to expand their platform?
I think there's a lot of different ways to expand your platform. I think a big one is kind of what Ace and Derek said and you just said is kind of aligning with the people around you. I think a lot of times you think what you have going on is better than anybody around you. Like you're like, I got connections. People don't realize I'm about to blow up. You know, like that's what I thought in music. I'm like, I'm gonna be the biggest manager, the youngest manager. I'm gonna be managing Drake soon. Like you just wait and see. And then you start to realize the people around you have the same connections, just different people, and they're in the same rooms with you. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Maybe I should pay attention to the people around me that are putting in the same amount of effort and connect with them. And on an artist level, that can be, hey, rather than looking for the biggest artist in CHH to collab with, why don't you look at the person next to you and be like, hey, do you want to do something together? I know I saw Bats in here, and he did that with Aaron Dews, and they made one of the sickest songs I've heard in the last year. It's like, man, it's just finding the people around you to make good art with, and people will pay attention.
Timing is everything, right? We know this, and we sort of view it as this like chance, like, okay, you know, hopefully timing's in my favor. But it's also like, what happens if you do have a song that blows up and you have nothing to follow it, right? Publisher reaches out. Okay, this has happened to me so many times, where especially with TikTok, where it's, you know, maybe they don't even have any full songs, it's just snippets because it was just made for TikTok. I'm like, this is really cool. Can you send me more? Send me a playlist of like 10 to 15 songs that you're stoked about. They don't have them, which is okay, right? But I just think, especially when it comes to, it only gets harder and harder to hang on to your values as you choose team members, as you choose collaborators, as you know, hopefully keep rising and rising. And I think if you don't know who you are, it's hard to really lean into what makes you unique as an artist. So yeah, that's the first one that comes to mind. And also, you can never redo a first impression, right? And so again, that's not to say don't shoot your shot, but also, rather than just throwing everything against the wall, if you know you need time to grow, to work on your craft, to work on yourself, allow yourself that time to really put yourself in the best position, so that when you do have eyes on you, you can go, this is what I have going for me, or this is the vision I have, or, you know.
Okay, I have two things that I thought of. One is listen to criticism. I think that's like the biggest thing that I've noticed of artists is they're not able to listen to criticism. They think their music's great and they just look for the people that agree with them. I think find people you trust and reach out to as many people about your music and ask them what they think. And when they give you advice, it can hurt, but be willing to listen to it and take a host of counsel and be willing to adjust. You know, I have friends that stick to the sound that they want to make and they're not reaching a lot of people and they wonder why, and you try and lay advice into them and they don't know why they're getting more audience. It's like, well, maybe this is why, but they want to keep doing it that way. And it's like, that's okay. You just need to know what the outcome of that will be. So I think, yeah, listen to criticism is one. And the other one is, it doesn't take a down payment on a home to make your first record. You know, it's so easy to make music these days, and it's so easy to upload music, and it's affordable, and there's so many talented people around you. So just find ways to make good art without, you know, investing in the most expensive outlets. I have a friend that's trying to raise $15,000 to make his first record right now, and he's not going to release it because he didn't make the budget. And I'm like, man, you can find another way to track those drums or you know, to get that guitar. It doesn't have to be the most perfect thing you've ever created, you know.
My name is No Big Deal, all lowercase word period. My name is DJ Mike LV. I'm a DJ, A&R, idea, creative director, all them different things. Before we move on, I just want to say thank you to our sponsor, Get Mixed. If you are an independent artist or you're an artist that's coming up, they literally have every bit of tools that you need to get your stuff mixed and mastered professionally at a reasonable price. Yeah, they're great. I've used them before. They're amazing. I'm sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
No, for real. Get your mixes done by Get Mixed. That's gonna take you to the next level, for real. My name is No Big Deal. I am a rapper, businessman, festival co-owner. I'm not a father. I'm not a father. President. Shout out my man. Thank all of y'all for being here for real. This is beautiful. We're very excited to spend this weekend with y'all.
John Keith.
Hi, John.
Certified lonely boy, you know what I'm saying? No, you know, rapper, singer, producer,
Just an overall great guy.
I'm an overall great guy.
Great. And you're actually a father?
I'm actually gonna be a father.
Woo!
My baby is in here somewhere inside of a lady, my wife.
We know from Facebook. We know from my Facebook post, you have to specify that she is your wife and not just
She is
a
my
lady.
wife. Yeah.
My name's Mowgli the Iceberg, artist, rapper, business person. So yeah, let's get a crack.
I want business person too. Put that on mine.
You didn't say it though.
Business person.
What are the pros and cons of making music as a collective versus a solo artist?
Can I start off with the cons first? I know that's terrible, but
Yeah, go ahead.
man, the cons are when we really believe in something personally, it's like, yo, I really love this. This is like what I feel like should be there. And then the group is like, no. And then it's like this tension of like, but I want to, like, I think this is great creatively. And then it's like, oh, but we think different. I think the cons and the pros are the tension that lives between figuring out how we all can creatively mesh and still hold, like, and still be ourselves. I think it's a pro and a con. But sometimes it can be a con because it's like, it'll make us frustrated, like, oh, well, I really wanted this, but you know what, like, for the greater good and because we love each other, it's like, all right, let's revisit, let's redo, let's continue make this as best as we can.
The end result is almost always a pro.
Yes, 100%.
But the process can feel difficult.
Yeah, I think everything really started to gel with us once we made the group decision that Indie Tribe is an act, like it is an artist. Like Indie Tribe has its own sound, so we're not fighting for the project or each song to be my song or be your song or be yours or even your song featuring me. We are striving to find the sound that is Indie Tribe, which is unique and separate from No Big Deal. It's unique and separate from John, from Mowgli, from Michael. And so I think that was like a big shift when we like started making music that way. Because at first it was like, we were just treating them like songs we were featured on.
I think a pro is that we really love each other, bro. Like, we like legit, like, when I think of community, like biblical community, I think of like us.
You finna cry right now?
No, not at all. Not yet. I'm waiting for your set. That's when I'll cry. Yeah, that's when I'll cry. But I think like being in community, like, I think that's like the best thing about it. Because yes, we have our church community and we have the things that we're a part of, but being with them, it really is a brotherhood. And it sounds like hella corny and weird, but it's like when we disagree, when we have hard disagreements, like, yo, we fight. Like, we fight, legit. But it's like, even through that, births like a beautiful, deep-rooted relationship. Like, a lot of these groups, I'm not throwing shade, I'm a straight shooter. A lot of these groups that came before us didn't like each other, didn't rock with each other, and you know what I'm saying, didn't really mesh. We really love each other and we rock with each other. We call each other out on BS. We love each other when we're down. We hold each other down when things are going like left or right. And whenever we need it, we hold each other down according to each other's personality. Because sometimes what I feel like is loving to me isn't loving to Mowgli, or what John thinks is loving to him isn't loving to me. So it's like we're able to communicate and go through the rough patches with each other in a very communal way. It's not like, yo, we're all dope, we make music, yay. It's like, nah, like we love each other, we hold each other down. Like, it's more than music. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's about to have a kid. That kid is my nephew. I will kill someone for that child. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like we really love each other.
Try me. You know what I'm saying? That's I'll say a pro, definitely all the things that he just said. You know, it's and also just
like strictly creatively. A pro is the moment somebody thinks of something that you would never, I don't want to say never, but I'm saying you're not likely to think of, you know? Like being able to release some of the control to be like, okay, I'm not the only person with the sauce. You know what I'm saying? Like there's other people that can speak into this that have dope ideas and all that kind of stuff. I'll say a con is everyone not having the same workflow or system. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a dude that I want to create. If I'm gonna create a song, if I'm gonna make a song, I'm gonna make a song. I'm saying that joint's gonna be finished tonight.
He'll make 10 in one day.
I'm doing it. I'm gonna finish the song.
No, and that's exactly like a difference with just processes. Because like John is so prolific that he'll legitimately for Low Blow when we were making it, there was like a weekend that John sent like 7 songs, and it wasn't just like it was like whole concept, hook, and some of them with like 2 verses. And it's like, hey, is this an
You can just take my second verse off. Like
Yeah,
the song,
exactly.
put that song out.
But that's the way John creates, because he's so prolific that he just fleshes ideas out. So in contrast, like when I create for Indie Tribe, it's normally a lot more minimal. It's like I'll start with like a pre-hook, and then I'll like pitch that because it's like I'm anticipating seeing what other people get. And sometimes both of those methods can be either something that supercharges the process, or it can be like inhibit the process.
Yeah, because if I'll do a thing where I do that, and I send 5, 6 songs, and I done messed up and fell in love with each of the songs exactly as they are. So then when the homie comes in and he's like, yo, I don't like this, I'm like, well, I'm kicking you out the group chat. So, well, I don't care what you think, because you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then we have that, okay, all right, John, other people, and I'm like, so it's a doozy, but it really is a beautiful thing, and I've learned a lot through the process as well.
You know, I'm almost done, but another pro is that, I'm trying to think of how to say this, because it's a group and it's all of us, I feel like I can fully feel excitement and healthy pride and joy when we release or we do something big, because it's not focused just on myself. It's like all of us together. So like some of you artists will know what I'm talking about. When you release like an album, like you're done with it, it's coming out, like you have like this mountaintop experience, and then you can go like very quickly into like kind of like a depression. Like now what? Okay, it's out. Like I've just spent my whole year on this, whatever. And that happens to me a lot. Like that's something that I have to work against, and you have to shift like your mindset from numbers and metrics to impact. Like what is this doing in people's lives? Like what does this mean to people? And you have to keep that from the creative process also through releasing it. But when it's with a group of people that you actually do life with, that you actually love, like what Michael was saying, then like I don't have to temper myself, like temper my excitement to make sure that I'm not being like an egomaniac, because I'm not just excited about myself. Like I'm excited about what John did, what Mowgli did, like what Michael did. Even with this festival, I'm just like fully in the moment and fully enjoying it. If this festival was like just my festival, like it might not be the same for everybody, but me internally, like it would be hard to fully like have an exuberant experience. But since it's like our thing, it's just like, this is amazing. And I know y'all didn't sign up for this, but there's something there with the Trinity too. I just gotta say it, because God was always 3 in 1, right? And his love overflowed into 3 people. And I think there's something there that when it's in a community and it's not just about you, but I digress. Go ahead.
No,
I can't get no
so-
help in here. I can't get no help in here.
Hey man, it's a lot of
So across the board, you guys are explaining how pretty much across the board, the pro has been the community. So how has community and networking as an artist been important to you, and when did you first start building that network?
Man, I don't know when Dill and them started building Indie Tribe.
No,
but
let's
I know-
talk about how me and you met.
Yeah, like so. Let's try to really break this down. Like, I met Dill in 2013 when he had short braids and was wearing football jerseys. I met him at, I kid you not.
Okay, it wasn't 2013. I never had braids, and
Just, he had an afro. He had an afro.
He looked like his name was Uncle Rudy. You know
Nah, 100%. He did not look as good as he looked now. This guy is
cute now.
He's a simple now.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, so I met Dill like in 2014 at Flavor Fest, and we just connected super basic. Then like 6 months later, I met Mowgli.
No, you met me 6 months before, my brother.
Oh, I met Mowgli before that, and we met at a B Cooper listening party in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? And that was before we even knew like about each other. I think y'all knew about each other, but I didn't know this was a thing. And then they did the trial run of Indie Tribe, and then all that stuff, and it was like just really trying to figure out what they were about. Like what I'm basically trying to say is like community and what we try to build is lateral. Like if I have any advice, it is lateral.
But also, what's crazy, the reason I met Dill, the reason I met you is because I wasn't trying to move lateral. I was in a position where I was trying to move vertical. I met you trying to meet Derek Minor. I met you trying to meet everybody that was at, B. Cooper's listening party, meet Lecrae, meet all those people. But in that time, it's like our eyes were open laterally to see not just like who was at that next step that could like bring you up along, but it was like, wait a second, this person is right here and we're aligned in what we're trying to do.
I didn't meet any of them till way later because I'm way younger than all of them. They're all mad old, and I'm so young. I'm young and hip and cool, and you know what I'm saying. I was like listening to them in like daycare. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Stop it.
But no, yeah. I actually met these two at his concert. Your concert
at the Indie Tribe
Canopy
pre-trial.
Canopy. Stop saying that.
Oh, it was Canopy. It was Canopy.
It was the Canopy tour.
It was a Sam Remy, Indie Tribe.
It was not Indie Tribe. It was Canopy tour.
I don't even want to keep doing this. And that's it. And then, so the answer is real important. Network, super important. But also, you know what I'm saying, don't be a schmuck about it. You know what I'm saying? Go and
just
connect with the people
lateral.
that you connect with, and you know, yeah.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like we were all friends before we were like Indie Tribe. Like the closest friendship, like becoming friends and then going into music was me and Mowgli in the super early days. But like these two, we were friends for like 5 years before we ever like did music together. And that's, that goes back to the first question of like the pros and cons. Like really, truly, the only reason this works is because we really love each other and like brothers, because to really make something excellent, you have to give and receive harsh criticism. You have to humble yourself, and something that you thought was amazing, it can't happen if it's not for the good of the group. The group doesn't decide on that. And that has broken so many groups. Like the fact that they can't take critique or they don't honor each other with the financial structure, which is another thing that we do, and the reason that all of those things work for us is because of the brotherhood that we have.
And I just want to add on that too. It's like, I think there's different levels of like collaboration and community, but I think if you want to be like incorporated with people, like you really got to be judicious in that relationship. Like that's not something like
Can you spell
John doesn't know what judicious means. This happens all the time. But like realistically, it's like this level of trust and really like relational intimacy. This is like almost like immediate family level like relationship, and you can't just casually go into that. And I think if you do want to be in something that is as tight as like an Indie Tribe, you have to be really prudent with who you're starting that relationship with.
Yeah, totally. So we're a couple weeks in now to Low Blow, the album, which is just amazing, right? Killer.
Yes.
And, it's been going crazy. Like, we saw those Shaq reposts.
Shaq, man.
That stuff is
The
crazy.
real Shaq. The actual Shaq.
Hey, hold on. I just want y'all to know, it was 3 a.m. My wife was asleep, and I was getting into the bed, and I was like, man, let me just look at my DMs real quick for whatever reason. I looked, and I was like, babe, I think Shaq DM'd me.
So, okay, so has, you guys are just so open. I'm just imagining that right now. Has being so open about your faith made things easier or harder in your career as Indie Tribe?
I don't even know. I mean, I think maybe y'all share this sentiment, but I'm just like, my faith is my life, and I don't care how anybody feels about it. Like, I genuinely don't. If you don't like the music, keep it pushing. If you like it, thank you. Like, I think, I don't want to speak for us.
Yeah, I think that there's like actually, I think this is, Derek said something, kind of about this in that panel. Like, there's not like, we don't like think to ourselves, okay, time to go in here and make a Christian song. Like, let's get in here and make these Christian tunes real quick. That doesn't happen. It's, we're gonna make songs about our lives that really in real life has Christ in it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and but that also means, you know what I'm saying, like, you're getting some of the ugliness. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get that in Low Blow. You got that in, I don't know if anybody's heard, when I dropped Eremos, it was like, that joint was mad dark and mad. Yeah. Like, like, it was like intimate. There's things in there that's like very tough to talk about. And I feel like we all kind of do that in our music, you know what I'm saying? And it's not like any kind of intention. It's just like, we're artists and we express what's really going on in our lives, Not even so much, for me, it's not even so much man, I'm gonna talk about this and I don't care what nobody thinks. It's like, I'm literally just not even thinking about that. It's just, I'm gonna write a song about what's going on right now.
I think the process of knowing how to understand yourself and what you believe in and who you are is hard work. And I think artistically, that is difficult, but I think we've been willing to do that hard work so that knowing who we are and what we believe in, and when we go to write music, where we're at in life does just like naturally pour into it. Like, there's tons of like Old Testament lore and references in Low Blow, and that's because for a big part of the writing camp, we were literally going through the Old Testament together. So it's like, this stuff is like top of brain, like we were making those references in conversation and stuff like that. But I think coming out the other side of it, doing that work, it's like we're creatively in a place that's kind of unique, of just having that fluency of like knowing who we are and knowing how to express it authentically and not just like in a kind of contrived or like copy and paste type of way that I think is like plagued a lot of Christian music.
Yeah, my goal, I think it's more about like, what is your heart and your goal in life like anyway, more than it is like, am I trying to write a song about something? Like, that's what really happens. Songwriters, Christian, unchristian, it doesn't matter. Like, maybe some songwriters don't, but most songwriters who like love writing songs, like that's what their heart is, then whatever their life is about, whatever they really believe, whatever they hold dear, whatever they cherish is gonna come out in the song. They don't have to sit there and try to fit a formula or anything like that. So, like John said, like when I'm in the studio, when we're in the studio, what's in your heart is gonna come out, And so it's not sitting down like, I'm gonna write a song about, Matthew 8. It's just, I'm gonna write a song, and just like in everything in life, I wanna honor God. I wanna make him look as creative and as beautiful as he is through the gifts that he's given me. I wanna do that when I talk to you. I wanna do that right now. That's just gonna come out in the music. But the thing is, you can, like, people try to pimp the Christian industry. Like, people try to like people, I've said it before, but people think you sell out. Like, they'll say that Christians are selling out because they make music like us. because we don't necessarily make a hymn or something like that. But the thing is, that's what works in the Christian industry. That's what's gonna make you money. I can make a lot more money, I promise you, I can make a lot more money right now if I wrote Jesus Turn Up songs. Easily, overnight. Easy. We have missed so much money because we're not trying to do that. We're trying to reach the people in this room. Obviously, our music has resonated with you guys because you got your lives reflect some of the things that we've gone through. And we wouldn't have reached you if we were just trying to make music to fill some time at a youth group. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, I don't know why I said that, but so.